Northwest Monster Truck Facebook page here. We're at the Straight Up Racing Shop. We're going to speak to Bill Payne here, ask him about his upcoming season and other things that he has ready to go for this next season.
Nothing's ever really ready. It's there's that saying, if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. But you know, it's here Sunday. We're kind of taking it easy. Still got the heat on the shop. It's kind of cold. Hopefully everybody else is staying warm right now. It's you know, the upcoming season's actually going to be real good. We did a bunch of speedways this last year and the last season, and the next year we actually have quite a few more. So we're actually going to run a lot less of, you know, for like a promoter-based shows and just do a bunch of the speedways. We found it's been a lot more, you know, fun. You know, the people have been more welcoming, you know, at a lot of those shows because they haven't had them in so long. So it's just been good for us at the speedways. You know, we're starting out in February, so we actually kind of get a little bit of a break. We don't have to start in the terrible weather that some of the other guys normally start in January. We're starting the first weekend of February. We go down to Salt Lake City, and then we're heading down to Arizona. Then we come back into Oregon for a while. You know, it's, as you see behind us, you know, we're still putting around. You know, everything is still a lot of self-taught stuff. You know, the first dog body that we painted, you know, I was real happy with it, but it came out real dark, too much browns in it, so it just kind of washes from a long ways away, and I didn't think it pictured, you know, well enough. So as you guys seen on our Facebook, we painted this one the other night. We tried a lot more brighter colors, you know, pinks, whites. We had 2 different colors of whites, 3 different colors of pinks, and then we had 7 different browns as we started doing the shading, and then the blacks. And you know, we're learning a lot as we go, just trying to, it's hard to figure out how to blend on top of white because it soaks up everything. If you go to our Facebook, you'll see some of the pictures, and before it was clear, it still looked a lot more white. You couldn't really see that it had blended so much on there until you cleared it, and then it really started bringing those other colors out. So it's actually, we're still trying to figure out how we can do more of a white kind of dog. You know, it's I don't know, next one we'll try it, we'll see. You know, the brindle marks, how we do that is just with a sponge. You know, we paint a sponge and then just start dabbing, and there's 5 different colors to make that little brindle mark. You know, again, it's just something that we tried, and it seemed to work, and it looks good. You know, and then we use a Scotch-Brite now as well. So the Scotch-Brite, we can start brushing, you know, here to give it a texture, and then when I Scotch-Brited it off, that's what made it look like it was almost that ivory, you know, grainy look. You know, and I liked how it looked. Same thing, you know, going through some of these areas, that's how I'm able to kind of get it to blend a little bit more, so it's not such a dramatic color change, is with the Scotch-Brite. What else you got for me?
And also, you shared a little bit with me off video about the rib that you had.
Oh yeah, one of our guys was able to locate half of an old Dungeons of Doom rib. You know, it was busted up, it had been in a rollover, but we were able to take a mold of the good side and make another half, and then we were able to splice the 2 together with hot glue, Bondo, and fiberglass, and we were able to make an actual rib like with the old Dungeons of Doom truck. And then we body worked it, fixed it up, and then we made another mold of that. So now we actually have the mold of the original Dungeons of Doom ribs. So I think that's something that we're going to start, you know, in the next week or 2, we'll start making some of the ribs. As you pulled in, you seen Skeletor didn't have bedsides on it because we were already kind of doing the mock-ups with it to see how it was going to look, you know, see what we're going to have to change and how we're going to get them to fit in there. But just trying to change up the looks. I always thought that was a great looking truck, but when we got the mold, we didn't get the rib with it. The rib mold had been destroyed, but luckily now we have one that we're able to make. You know, I was so happy with this. I mean, just being a part of it, doing it. You know, what's funny is when I started this, I told my wife, you know, it was just gonna be a project that I took my time on, you know, whether it took a year or 2 years, you know, so be it. And then once I get started on something, I usually get so involved with it. Literally, I mean, I would work on the thing 12 hours, 16 hours a day until it was done. I mean, we got 300 hours into this thing, and I had again, so much fun building this thing, we want to build another one. So we've actually been taking different drawings. Up the street there's a company called Graphic Reflections, and one of their employees is a cartoon drawer. So he's actually drawing me up a dinosaur monster truck right now, trying to do a little bit of a change and then trying to bring back a dinosaur to the monster truck industry. So we'll see what we come up with there, but I think what I'll do is there's a guy up in Canada that he's got a CNC foam cutter, and he can cut it out of foam and then make a mold straight from that. That way I don't have to do all of the sculpting work that we did and all the grinding and turning this place into a foam factory because there was so much dust everywhere. So we'll see how that one comes out. I mean, it's just, again, trial and error, learning some things. It was definitely fun being a part of the actual sculpting part, but the 300 hours that it took, if I could turn around and have someone plug it into a machine and cut it out, it's the same reason why we have a plasma table, because it makes it a lot faster, a lot cleaner. It makes it symmetrical and sharp.
And what about Willie Crash?
Yep, it's all year long we've been, calling the driver of California kid Willie Crash. And then it just started getting us thinking. We started looking at the Willie's coupe, and it's a short wheelbase as well. So the problem is nobody really makes a monster truck body of the Willies. So we called. There's places in Pennsylvania. There's Wisconsin, New York. Everybody makes an actual, like a street car out of a 41 Willys fiberglass body, but nobody could make it just a shell. I mean, they had firewalls and floorboards and door panels and everything else, and it was bloody expensive. We finally found a guy right here in Malala, Oregon, that he's able to make just the shell of a 41 Willys coupe for us. So we ordered that. He's supposed to be laying it up this week, and we're going to pick it up on Friday. So that'll be the new body for California Kid, will become the Willie Crash 41 Willys. So it's just, we're running out of time, I know, but it's it seems that we've been trying to go through all the trucks. I mean, we stripped every one of them down and repainted every part of them, whether it was driveline hoops to the sway bars to the frames. Everything got a clean coat of paint on them, just to mainly to make up for Crescent City, because the truck sat out there on the ocean coast for 2 weeks and they came back all rusty. I mean, you didn't really realize how much bare metal was showing and how much unpainted stuff there was until you go do a show next to the coast. What else we got kind of in the works? We've been doing the designs back for Reverse Racer, going back and forth with the design guy, trying to figure out a good design, whether we want to bring back the Reverse Racer for next year. It's just, we're still kind of up in the air what trucks we're going to run. We have a whole wall of trucks that we run before, and we always try to change things up every couple of years. So, I mean, this is the second year on some of these trucks, so we want to change them up some. As you see, with the tires that we just purchased, now we want to do bead locks. So we got a lot of rims to be able to cut and make into bead locks. And that was what I was telling you before we started filming. I used to use just a 2x4 that I would hose clamp my plasma cutter to and just try to get it to the right height, and then I would just drag the 2x4 across. And it worked good, but then I would always have to grind afterwards because it had lumps and bumps, because the 2x4 would rock and twist. So yesterday I started by building a jig out of, with wheels and casters and everything slotted, so you can just adjust everything for heights. And it just makes it to where now it only takes a couple of minutes to be able to cut a rim into a bead lock versus taking a half hour with a 2x4 and everything else. After you get the height set, you cut the flange all the way around, and then we have other pieces that have to be welded in. You have the backing plate, and then you have the other part that bolts to the outside piece with the 42 bolts that clamps basically the bead together. It just makes it to where that way when you take a hard side hit, the tire doesn't come debeaded, lose all its air. It's just kind of embarrassing when you take just a little side hit and then it ends your run because your rim's hitting the ground now because you have no air in them. So it's just something else to try to make the shows even better.
And I know on Facebook, like we talked about, you got those 6 plies in. How were you able to find those and all that stuff?
The problem with the 6-ply is they stopped manufacturing them a long time ago. I don't even know when they stopped making them, for good. But when we talked, the 6-ply was one of the first tires that came out, and it was back when the implements weren't super heavy. They only had 8 yards of fertilizer to spread. and then as years got, further on in the future, they started getting, 30-foot arms on each side. They started hauling, 30 tons of, payload in the back. And then now the machine started weighing 60,000 pounds, and it just made it to where the tires weren't rated for it. It's just like if you're trying to take, your car and trying to haul a ton of bricks on it, your tires are going to blow out. You got to have good tires, rated for a lot of weight, thicker. So that's where the 10 plies and the 8 plies and 12s, and now they're all the way up into like the 22, 24 ply stuff, which is so heavy that the monster trucks can't use them. I know Bigfoot was able to figure out a way with the 20 plies, but most of them are so stiff and so heavy that we wouldn't be able to do it. And then the other thing is most of these tire shops, if we call them up and said, hey, we'd like you to make, 4 6 plies, none of them are going to tool up for it just to make 4 of them. It wouldn't be worth it their time. It wouldn't be financially smart. We couldn't afford it. But the best thing about, the monster trucks is we meet people all over the country. And when we're on display at pit parties, people always talk about stories, things they've seen. And we ran into a guy that said that he knows a place that has a bunch of these tires. So then we started talking about it, but the guy had a few key words that he kept saying, that they're the lightweight ones, they're the 6 plies. And I mean, he knew what the plies meant, and so it started getting me thinking. I'm like, well, maybe this guy. So then I started, showing him the tires where it said 10 ply, 6 ply, and he's like, yeah, I've seen them before. These are the 6 ply ones. So he told us where they're at, and they were actually the Goodyear plant in Calgary. So we called them up, and yeah, they had 12 of them still new in stock that they've never sold. They had been sitting in a warehouse for the last 15 years. So we struck a deal with them. I mean, we paid very good money, but we were able to get the tires from them, and that's why we got beautiful tires for some of these trucks this year.
You have anything more to add, Bill, before we end?
I mean, I love doing the little videos here. It's just seeing the progression of how we do and how my guys do, and the trucks, the change, and it's good because I like it when people ask the questions on our Facebooks, on how you guys doing this, why are you guys doing this. That's what we've talked before. It's, we try to be, proactive with the Facebook, but not be too proactive with it. Just ask us the questions. If you guys, want to know certain things that we're doing, I mean, we literally do this for the people. It's a blast for us. We get to play with toys, and really we don't have to have day jobs because we get to play with this stuff. I mean, sometimes we still have to go back to work so we can make some money, but if you guys have questions, just ask us. Feel free. Whether it's why do we do this way, or hey, how about this, or what kind of motors, or how you do this. That's one thing is we've started this team from having really nothing. From eating top ramen and sitting in lawn chairs in the back of a trailer because that was the only cover that we could find, to having a full-blown shop and a race shop and everything else. So we try to do things, affordable and do it right so we can have fun.
Thanks for your time, Bill.
Thank you.